Hello, we are Group E2. Today we're going to discuss the plant-based meat market as a whole, give a quick industry analysis, and then talk about Beyond Meat specifically and what strategic challenges it's facing as the industry continues to grow. Some quick insights on the industry. The plant-based meat market is currently valued at over $4 billion and is projected to double in the next 5 years. Beyond Meat is a current leading plant-based meat seller. The industry as a whole has seen rousing awareness due to the improved health benefits of our animal meat, as well as environmental sustainability benefits. The products are, however, priced higher than traditional meat. Analysts predict that in the next 10 to 15 years, plant-based products could potentially completely replace animal-based products. In terms of a quick competitive landscape, Beyond Meat was the first of this industry launched in 2009. Impossible Foods, a close competitor, was launched in 2011, and recently, huge retail chains such as Kellogg's and Hormel Foods have also launched their variations of these products.
We did industry life cycle analysis. We find the industry is fast growing each year. As a result, there is enough profits for the focal firms and there's no destructive rivalry by far. However, Beyond Meat has felt the pressures as the industry is slowly stepping to the next stage, shake stage. That means all the focal firms have to lower costs to lower prices. Based on the income statement of Beyond Meat, the percentage of revenue that was used by the cost of goods sold was decreasing very fast year by year. The first reason for this is that Beyond Meat benefits from the larger scale of economy. The second reason is that in order to achieve competitive advantage, Beyond Meat has to find low-cost strategy to face all the competitions from both inside and outside the industry. One of the biggest challenges Beyond Meat is facing now comes from the new entrants of the industry.
Low barriers to entry for big food and beverage companies are evidenced in the alternative meat market. Large meat producers who have historically abstained from researching and developing plant-based products in the last several decades are now capitalizing on shifting customer demands. According to the New York Times, the entry of giants like Tyson and Smithfield shifted the perception of alternative meat from niche to mainstream, which further accelerated entry of competitors. The threat that competitor entry poses for Beyond Meat can be illustrated by examining the impact of McDonald's entry into the alternative meat market on Beyond Meat's stock price. Recently, McDonald's contracted Beyond Meat's help to develop a plant-based burger. News that McDonald's was going to launch its own internally developed burger independent of Beyond Meat caused Beyond Meat's stock price to drop by 10%. Later that day, when Beyond Meat affirmed that the two companies co-created the plant-based patty, their stock price traded up as high as 9%. Ultimately, low barriers to entry leads to decreased profits for the firms in the marketplace because lowered prices will result from a high degree of competition. As more firms enter the market, price wars will ensue to capture new demand and reappropriate existing market share, which will hurt the profitability of existing firms such as Beyond Meat.
Another strategic challenge affecting Beyond Meat is the rapidly evolving technology affecting the external environment in which the company operates in. For example, animal meat is now being grown in a lab. Lab-grown meat is being developed by multiple firms in a race to bring the new product to market. Cells are taken from live animals and then cultured in a lab where they eventually are grown into animal muscle tissue. This new technology has seemingly solved two very large issues that many meat consumers are concerned with. Firstly, the massive amounts of land and water that are needed to raise live animals for food, and secondly, the unethical practices used on many factory farms. Consumers who turn to plant-based meat in order to be more ecologically or ethically responsible may no longer need to look for a meat substitute to uphold this commitment. Within the plant-based meat industry, there are also major technological advancements taking place that are changing the definition of what plant-based meat is. Impossible Foods, for example, has developed chemicals and processes protected by patents that has allowed them to introduce a plant-based meat that tastes, feels, and cooks exactly like animal meat. This technology has transformed the way the public view plant-based meat, as well as created expectations for people who try plant-based meat and expect it to taste exactly like animal meat. These examples of rapidly evolving technologies are certainly a challenge that Beyond Meat needs to consider in their strategic initiatives moving forward, as we will likely see the plant-based meat industry take an entirely new shape in the years to come.
From the VRIN framework, Beyond Meat's large market share is a valuable resource. However, other firms have moved into the market with larger supply chains and financial resources, making the firm's products a source of competitive parity. With emerging technologies for alternative meats coming to market, we believe that Beyond Meat has only a temporary competitive advantage rather than sustained competitive advantage.
The last two frameworks we used to evaluate these strategic challenges were the 5 Forces and PESG framework. It's no secret that low barriers to entry lead to rapid increase in competition, especially in nascent markets with no need to monopolize secure resources, limited government regulation, and low customer switching costs. This means that existing competent firms like Tyson have capabilities to produce these goods at a cheaper price. And lastly, we evaluated how Beyond Meat faces external technological threats. Meat alternatives are more eco-friendly than raising livestock, which is a big plus in the eyes of the consumers. However, new tech is improving the livestock process and enables new products such as lab-grown meat to enter the market. This culminates in overall declining advantages of meat substitute firms such as Beyond Meat.
Beyond our own analysis, our group found the chance to interview the former executive chairman of Beyond Meat, Seth Goldman. So let's hear an insider's view. What Seth thinks is the biggest strategic challenge Beyond Meat is facing right now?
I would say we have proven the product can perform. We have started to scale globally. So it's really getting trial. It's getting people to taste it. Because once they taste it, the taste does a lot of the rest of the work. I mean, the pandemic has killed the restaurant industry. And so a lot of the launches that could have happened in 2020 have been pushed back. But I'm excited that in 2021, we'll see more food service channel launches. And those are so important because those are sampling opportunities. And you get these restaurants to be your marketing partner. That's a COVID related impact, but in the long term, I'm confident we'll be able to address it.